Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
With wheel-to-wheel action from the horseshoe to the roller coaster, from oak tree to hog pen, and everywhere in between, VAR is an American motorsport experience that every driver and fan alike should have on their bucket list. This 3.27-mile course has seen it all, and today we see Porsche Caymans and BMW M4 GT4 race cars roll into VAR's paddock for the third round of 8 on the Operation eMotorsport iRacing Winter 2021 season. Welcome race fans to Pit Stop TV. As usual, we're live to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter this evening. JP Costa joins me in the booth, Trey Shuttlesworth on social media coverage, and I'm Emerson Arden, and welcome to live coverage of the Operation eMotorsport 2021 Winter Season Round 3 of 8. And, yeah, joining me, we having graphics issues real quick, but we'll get those fixed up for just a second. You're going to see them all come up, and all will be fine. But nonetheless, JP, how are we feeling about tonight's race? VAR, what a wild track for GT4 race cars.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be an amazing race. I'm sure last week we had an absolute blast, and I'm expecting more of the same. Last season, obviously, this was the season opener, and we had a fantastic race with battles all throughout the field, including battles for the lead and even mistakes from the leaders. So obviously, this track is absolutely unforgiving. Grass all around the racetrack, gravel traps, a lot of elevation changes, blind corners. This is definitely going to be a challenge for all the drivers involved here tonight.
For sure. And while we're waiting on graphics to load up for us, let's talk about last week's race. Road America. What a wild race that was. Eggert, Check, and Walsh. I mean, they went toe-to-toe all race. So clean. I don't think I've seen a battle that's so clean for so long at Road America until the final corner. They finally made contact, but of course anything kind of goes on the last lap when it comes to motorsport, right? I mean, what a race that was.
Exactly. We saw the classic Ayrton Senna quote: if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver. So obviously we had an absolute last lap, last corner attempt to an overtake. Unfortunately, it didn't quite pay off, but that's racing. You have to go for it. If you just stay there and happy with P2, that's really missing the point. But I'm sure here tonight, obviously we're not going to have that many lunges, I don't think, but I'm sure we're going to see great overtakes and a lot of clean races as we expect from Operation eMotorsport.
Well, let's take a look at the track map, and I'd say the overtaking opportunities here, they're a little difficult to point out. I'd say for sure you can bank on turn 13, the start of the roller coaster, and turn 1. But what say you, JP? What do you think of the track? A lot of S's, man.
Yeah, exactly. We have a lot of elevation changes, a lot of sequence of corners. So if you make a mistake, it's definitely going to be hurting you all throughout the lap. Obviously we start on the horseshoe sequence of turn 1, 2 right-handers as they head into turn 2, and then the NASCAR bend of turn 3. Then we have a small straight as they head into turn 4. The left hook into 5 and 5A. Then we start the sequence of corners. If you make a mistake on the beginning of the lower S's or the 6 and 6A, you're going to be hurting because it's an uphill battle up all the way into turn 7, turn 8, and turn 9 as they head downhill into South Bend and turn 11, 12 of Oak Tree. And then we have an absolutely massive straight as they head into the end in an uphill battle with the car, obviously gravity and all sort of stuff, so we can definitely see some overtakes there. As they head into turn 13, we're going to see the roller coaster, a sequence of left, right, and left again as they head downhill into blind corners with grass on the inside and outside, so that definitely can catch some drivers out. And they finish the lap at turn 17, the hawk pen, as they begin all over again into horseshoe.
Well, we talked a little bit about last week's race, and Brandon Egerchek came out on top with that one. He's top of the point standings in the pro category, 16 points behind. We'll find Dustin Burkhalter and David Levine, 1 more point behind him. Talk about this beneficiary category. This went to the wire as well last week. Theo Brolsema, Brock Hogan duking it out on the final lap. A lapped vehicle kind of interfered with that battle, but nonetheless, that was a tooth and nail battle all the way to the end. Brolsema hung on for that class victory. He's 1 point ahead of Hunter Reeve. That is going to be very important to watch here tonight, as well as the open category with Christopher Bailey and Sean Knight, also 1 point apart. In the open category, Rodney Campbell 12 points back in open, Brock Hogan 10 back in the beneficiary category. And now that we have everything kind of sorted out, we can try and see if we can get our interview in with the Director of Marketing from the Virginia International Raceway, Mike Rose. Mike, how you doing?
Hey guys, I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Right on, perfect. And I mean, let's get to it. It's not been the best of years, the best of times. It's been rough. What has been VAR's plan to host spectators at events during this pandemic?
Every state is different when handling COVID, and we have really been directed by the protocols of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And in most cases, that's either been 100 to 250 people to maybe up to 1,000 people. And we've just had to be able to do that as efficiently and as much as those protocols and directives really require. We've got hand washing facilities everywhere, hand sanitizer stations, masks for people if they need them. I mean, we've been very similar to everywhere that you go out there, but we've been really trying to focus on private events. So if you guys call up and you want to book the racetrack, and you're only bringing whatever it might be, 10 or 15 people, focus on those. And we haven't had spectators in now, I guess, a little over a year, just general folks that want to come in off from the road passing by. And that really stinks. We haven't sold tickets at all for 2020, and we don't even have anything on the docket for 21 yet, because again, the unknown variables that are sitting in front of us.
Right. Well, that I feel really bad now. I mean, unfortunately,
on the flip side, I mean, we've done it okay. We've survived. Everybody has to find a way to make it work for them, and
sure.
we have done a great job. And I applaud our ownership and and the senior management to make sure that we have been able to operate and have found the niche. So I don't want to, everybody's struggling, everybody's suffering. I don't want to make us feel like we're any worse.
No, I totally understand that. It just always kind of catches me off guard, because, like you said, everybody's struggling. With that being said, the outlook for 2021, you already kind of alluded to it a little bit. There's not a whole lot on the docket, but does it look better? Do you think it's going to be viable that VAR can I guess bring spectators and have events this season?
It's a great question. And it's it's a little bit of the unknown. I think we can all see a light at the end of the tunnel. Yes. I think how bright and how quickly, that light, turns around on us, hard to say. We hope so. The first part of the year is going to be more difficult, but hopefully at least by IMSA, which is in August, we've at least got a good amount of people that can come through, because then we get into some really cool events. I mean, I guess I should say even starting sooner than that, but we're just not going to be sure until these initiatives from the governor and from the politicians, they let us do some more. But hey, man, we're trying to be creative. We're a racetrack. We always like to go fast. We always like to do whatever we can. So we're working on a few things. So we'll see how it works out.
That's for sure. All right, we can switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about Operation Motorsport. First, I want to mention, I was looking at the website today. The track, when there is obviously spectators allowed, allows active service members free entry into the venue and veterans a 50% discount on tickets. I think that is an awesome thing that y'all do. With that being said, of course, Operation Motorsport's work is primarily centered around veterans. And so how much does Operation Motorsport mean to VIR? And what kind of things does the track maybe do for the foundation?
I think it is a fantastic organization. We have a group here on site, actually, called Racing for Heroes, that works, in similar initiatives. But Operation Motorsport is fantastic. We have a great relationship with everybody involved, and try to provide anything like prize packs, like any way that they think we might be able to help them. We try. And you mentioned the veterans and the everyday admission for the active military. That really comes straight from our ownership. Connie Nyholm, who is our owner and has been since VIR reopened in 2000, her father was in military. She grew up in military. That lifestyle, she really understands it, appreciates it, and it is very important. I think we'll probably be one of the only tracks around where you can get in as an active military participant free of charge for for any number of days, any number of events that just come on out and bring your active military ID, any type of a veteran card that you might have, and we're really more than honored to host anybody who has served this country or is currently serving this country.
For sure. That being said, I know, there's a lot of things that are going into, especially right now. But how does maybe VIR plan to strengthen their relationship with Opmo? Is there anything maybe in the future coming up that we can maybe anticipate?
I think there'll be a few things that we can't really speak too much of at this moment. But yes, there'll be future things. Part of it is going to be how much, the on-site activation, how much can that be done, in the current times that we're in. But at the same time, how many more things can we do, even if it is virtual or if it's something that we can send prize packs. But there's a few other initiatives that we're talking about, and I would like to think we're going to come up with at least a few options because, like I said, we're never gonna say no to Operation Motorsport.
That's great to hear. So let's talk about today's race. The Facebook page has been very, I guess, active in the promotion of this race. I know it's all virtual and these are all, lines of code and pixels to a lot of people. But like, what is Operation Motorsport choosing VIR to run in its winter 2021 iRacing season kind of mean to the track, and what I guess what are the advantages of it?
We're really very, very honored and humbled that Operation Motorsport asked us to be included. We have, while we try to do some good things for everybody, it's an important organization to us. The fact that they chose us really says that we're doing something right out there. Like I said, we think we have good relationships, but you never know until the chips are down, and clearly they are. Now, one of the things I love and we love about an iRacing event or any other platform that's out there is that we can still keep the energy and the activity that is VIR alive. Right now, you can't come in see it at the track. However, you can be part of it, whether you're watching it, participating in it, in this iRacing platform, and it's great. It's something we truly have tried to embrace. Last year, there were a few different groups that did it, including obviously Operation Motorsport. That was one of our first forays into how can we help support this, and how do we try to expound on the message that you guys are trying to get out, using us as a venue and our promotion. You mentioned the Facebook. We tried to be as active as we can on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and a couple of other things, newsletters that go out that are promoting tonight's race. Normal channels that we would have, or that we do have at our disposal, that can help promote something, even if it's not physically on site at VIR, it's still VIR. You're just watching it and or participating, which is even cooler.
Right on. Right. This is a great event, VIR. Some people, like, I knew of this track really only from DM's the calendar, but to see, a little bit more too. I know these cars are from the Michelin Pilot Challenge as well, the GT4 cars, but just to see it involved in more aspects of motorsports, at least to my eyes. I know there are obviously other sanctioning bodies that can come to VIR, of course, but I love the fact that VIR is I guess a profound course in American road racing. But right, where can people find the VIR social channels, and what else? I guess can we shout out about VIR?
We're at Virginia International Raceway on Facebook. And then we're at VIR Now on Twitter, Instagram, and you can find us that way. We're try to be very active. One of the more active racetracks, more interactive, I guess, is the better description on those social channels. You can always find more information on the website at virnow.com. But like I said, right now we don't have our 21 spectator calendar posted or tickets because we'd rather not disappoint people. So we'd rather throw that up and say, hey, good news, we're going to have IMSA, we're going to have SRO, SVRA, anything else, and it's that's just kind of the way we perceive things. One thing I will tell you that's really cool about tonight's race and iRacing in general is that this track scan is probably from 2007. So there have been several changes to the track as well as to some of what you're physically seeing. One of the most iconic things that we had that is in this scan is the oak tree.
Right.
The oak tree fell on July 2nd, 2013, and we have memorialized it in a number of ways. But it's really kind of cool to still see it standing, in this virtual, scan here. Then the other thing I would tell you is today's track is wider in spots. The racing line is no different, but there's a couple more spots where you could have a little more pavement with wiser or even some negative camber that we've added. So it's kind of neat to see this model, which is, our start towers are different. Oak tree is gone. There's so many more things that, we will probably notice more than anybody else. But if you've been here, you would notice a few changes.
Right. When could we maybe expect a scan to see all those cool new features to the track layout? Do you think iRacing has a plan to come out here anytime in the near future? I know, again, things are different right now, but
yeah, I think so. We've talked to the guys a lot, and I think you're right. It's a combination of they were so overrun by the popularity, and thank goodness of iRacing last year. With the pandemic, there was at least something to turn to. But on the flip side, it's also not safe to travel, or it wasn't back then.
right.
And it'll change. I mean, I definitely see it being updated in the near future. But I also think they're going to keep this track scan active. So if people want to take that, let's call it 2000 to circa 2013 that track will always be, will always live in iRacing anyway.
Right. I'm sure they'll have it as the legacy version, and everybody will still be able to purchase it and run it as well. But thank you for your time, Mr. Mike Rose, the Director of Marketing of Virginia International Raceway. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for all the insight to what VAR's done and been doing, especially the past year. I know it's been rough, but for Operation Motorsport, more importantly.
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate you all having me on. I wish all the competitors the best time tonight. Enjoy it. It's a very fun experience. It's a really unique track, very fast, very technical, and we just have a good time tonight. Thank you for having me on.
Right on, of course, and thank you for joining us.
You got it.
And that was the Director of Marketing from the Virginia International Raceway, Mr. Mike Rose. And JP, what did you kind of take from that interview? What did it kind of, I guess, excite you about VAR? But the potential upcoming new scan of the track, and the relationship with Operation Motorsport.
Yeah, it makes me very excited for the new scan of the track. Obviously, Operation Motorsport is definitely going to be. It's nice to see the I guess the partnership that they have between each other. It really shows how big this is becoming, and it's great. And obviously, hopefully with the new scan we do keep some of the old things that keep this track, I guess, classical. For example, the oak tree, he mentioned that unfortunately it fell, I'm pretty sure in 2013. It would be nice, if we have a new scan with the new tarmac, with the new systems and the wider track in certain points, the camber that he mentioned, if we can still have some of the classic, the old school, I guess, aspects of the track that make it special. For example, obviously the biggest one, I guess, is the oak tree. But, only time will tell. Hopefully iRacing does something with that, just keeping it, as you can see now on your screen, just the great corner that it is, just so calling and very, very interesting.
Right, well, qualifying has just come to a close. Drivers are now on their final laps, and what are we seeing here? Chris Walsh has gone, obviously, top of the charts by nearly a second. My goodness, what a margin he has over Christopher Bailey. Of course, there's still drivers out there that can change this, but that is wild.
Yeah, exactly. Last season, I'm pretty sure Chris Walsh was involved in a race-long battle with Daniel Morad, and well, you just pretty much asserting his dominance this weekend, because a 1.1 second gap in qualifying, it's absolutely massive. That's obviously second place an open driver. Actually second place for the pro drivers is Lindsay at nearly 1.4 seconds behind. So that is a big gap. If you can just keep that pace over the course of 3 laps, he already has a great gap just to keep managing the tires and the fuel. And well, that is fantastic for him. But if we look towards the rest of the grid, it's pretty much the same, the same gap that we have from first to second. We pretty much have second all the way down into 10th and 11th. 10 to 11. So, it's a very, very close grid if we ignore the great lap that Chris Walsh just did.
Right, well, let's make no mistake about, we have, of course, the pool of pro drivers towards the top of the standings, but, of course, Christopher Bailey, the open driver, he's the second best driver in the grid, or on the grid, according to the timing sheet, and he's ahead of all these pro drivers. And let's also shout out Hunter Reeve, the top of the beneficiary category here in qualifying. He's sitting in the 7th position, and he has some leverage on a couple pro drivers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a great qualifying from Bailey, especially considering he has 4 pro drivers right behind him, obviously 1 ahead. And then also Hunter Reeve, a great qualifying session from him. He is currently, I think Theo Brosema is the closest qualifier for the beneficiary class to him, and he has an absolute mountain of cars between each other. As you can see there, Theo Brosema in P15, over 8/10 of a second behind Hunter Reeve. So that's a big gap also for the beneficiary qualifiers.
Right, and we saw, of course, coming into today, the beneficiary in the open class, they were separated by 1 point, and the spots in between those, that's a lot more than 1 point. But that makes this race interesting. We have 60 minutes to see how this will all shake down and where the cards fall when this comes to an end. The session has concluded there. Tim Bernard will be taken off the track via iRacing Force. And yeah, we have a starting grid to look at. Let's go with it. And on row number 1, of course, it's going to be Chris Walsh. And to his outside will be open driver Christopher Bailey. How about row number 2? We'll find Paul Lindsay and Brandon Egerchek. 2 wins in a row for Brandon Egerchek. Can he get win number 3 tonight, starting from 4th? How about row number 3? We'll find Charlie Bass and Tyler Langenberg, making up row 3. Row 4, we'll find Hunter Reeve and Travis Hill. Beneficiary Hunter Reeve, Travis Hill, the pro driver, starting P8. In row number 5, it'll be Rodney Campbell and David Levine.
Starting off in P11, you do have Sean Knight right alongside him, the number 33 of Dustin Burkhalter on the outside lane. In P13, starting off in the 7th row, we do have Trevor Hill on the number 42 and the number 23 of Thomas Outson starting right alongside him, a full row of open drivers. In P15, on the inside line, we do have the beneficiary driver Theo Brosema in the car number 24. And on 16th place on the outside, we do have Shane Hunter in the 927. On 17th place, we do have on the inside line the number 18 of Brian Burkhart, and on his outside the number 58 of Brock Hogan. Running off row number 10, we do have on the inside the number 7 of John Winker and Jason Leach on the outside on the number 22 car.
We fall back to row number 11. We'll find Brian Winker and Callum Beldam. Open and beneficiary drivers make up row 11. Row number 12, we'll find beneficiary Justin Jarrett and open driver Jay Gleason starting 24th. Row 13, we'll find Tim Bernard, the beneficiary driver, and he'll be starting alongside Kurt Guydencock in the number 81 in the beneficiary category. And that will do it for our 26 driver grid. And I think we're about to start rolling on this pace lap. JP, what do you think are going to be, what are your expectations for this race start?
Well, you know, I'm expecting a late start for the leader, Chris Walsh. Run down to turn 1 is not the biggest, but obviously with the slipstream, it could be very possible that some drivers do get the slipstream. It might open up a challenge for him. So I'm expecting a late start from him. You can see already warming up the tires. Some drivers. We do have an old Porsche front row, but looks like the 2 rows behind him are full-on BMWs. We saw last week that the BMW had an extra straight line speed advantage, but the Porsche was just quicker on the infield of Road American, and that's kind of what happened here today. Looks like the Porsche could make up the difference in straight line speed during the corners, and that allowed the first and second to guarantee their front row lockout.
Right, remember, the Daytona Road America with the first 2 races of the season, Brandon Egerchek won both of those, but conveniently he's in a BMW. And you know, Daytona Road America, they're very high-speed tracks, a lot of straightaways and high-speed corners, while this is a pretty technical course. I mean, this track is almost completely made up of S's. I mean, this really just screams Porsche should dominate.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, the BMWs, if they have the right momentum and they can keep close towards the back straight and maybe the front straight as well, they could mount a challenge, but it's definitely going to be very difficult to overtake on just raw power and on straight line speed. You're obviously going to have to hope for a small mistake for the driver in front, because as you can see, one corner is just leading to another, and with the fast flowing nature of this racetrack, is definitely going to be important to mastering the turn in point, the throttle point, just to make sure you don't oversteer or understeer the car into the gravel or the grass in this case. But you know, it's definitely going to be a very interesting race, and the overtakes are going to be absolutely brilliant. I'm sure they will happen when they happen.
As the drivers run under the oak tree down at the far side of the course, I believe that's turn number 12, and the pace car runs its way down the straightaway. That is the South Paddock straight. 2 Porsches, row number 1, Christopher Bailey, Chris Walsh, open pro driver, left and right side of your screen. Chris Walsh is the pole sitter. He'll control the start, and I'm really excited for the onboards that we're going to get through those S's, man. That is going to be absolutely gnarly. But what's going to be gnarly is this start, and I thought Bailey was pulling up closer to the pace car. He was actually covering up Chris Walsh there, so I was a little confused. But here comes Chris Walsh. They await the long way behind the Porsche safety car, and now into the roller coaster. A lot of elevation change here.
Yeah, not only a lot of elevation change, but also blind corners. You know, you do have to get your turn-in point just right, otherwise you're just going to end up on the gravel. But looks like the pace car is going to be pulling in at any second now as they head into the final few corners of turn 16 and 17 as they head into Hog Pen. So, Emerson, let's do this.
Let us do this. The iRacing.com Porsche safety car will be making the right-hand turn onto the pit lane. The field is in the hand of Chris Walsh, and we are racing from the Virginia International Raceway.
Chris Walsh got an absolute late start. As you can see there, he's already under pressure on the outside, but looks like he's going to have that covered off. I don't think Chris Bailey is going to be mounting a challenge, at least not on lap 1. As you can see there, everybody a bit cautious as they head into the horseshoe. Looks like we do have a few side-by-side battles, but looks like everybody's giving themselves some space as now we follow into a one-line corner, a straight line for every single car. But looks like Christopher Walsh already has a 7/10 lead of over Chris Bailey. But looks like Paul Lindsay is is hungry on that BMW, riding the back end of that Porsche. Let's see if he can keep contact as they head into the snake session of the racetrack.
Yep, through the S's we go, and on our way down to the run to the oak tree. That was a very clean start. Very, very tight corners, very, I guess, technical section of the track, and these drivers, all 26 of them, looks like they've made it through relatively clean.
Exactly. It looks like not a lot of people are willing to risk damage, at least not on the first lap of this race, because obviously if you do have any sort of damage, these cars, they're not going to be you're not going to be easily forgiven, especially on this absolutely massive back straight. Obviously we don't have the chicane to slow the cars down, but you know, if you have a bit of damage, that's going to increase your drag, and increasing your drag is going to slow you down a straight line, and it's going to make you vulnerable on the straights.
The massive straightaway, and then the uphill braking zone to start the roller coaster, the downhill twisting and winding section in the Virginia countryside. This is Paul Lindsay's on board, and we're watching him trying to close up on these Porsches because he's going to have the advantage from here, Hogpen, all the way down to the horseshoe, and that's really it. The Porsches are going to start to take off here. Looks
and obviously
like
this
we have a
is
car
kind
off, Callum Beldam.
Ooh, looks like he made a small mistake. Looks like that's on the roller coaster, so you may have caught our first victim straight on the first lap. Does he have any damage? It doesn't look like it. The car looks fine, but is he gonna head to the pits? I don't think he is. That car looked perfectly fine, but right now we're gonna see what happened, see if we can understand what happened to Callum Belden.
Well, here we go. Callum Beldam going up the hill into the roller coaster. He just goes wide.
Looks like he just can't slow down enough for the second part. That's kind of odd, you know. The first part of the roller coaster was absolutely fine for him, but the second part, he just couldn't get this car slowed down.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for one of our beneficiary drivers, Callum Beldam. We continue on up front. It is spread out a little bit. Christopher Bailey kind of trying to find some way to keep pace with Chris Walsh here. Already through 3 minutes. Up the hill we go. And yeah, about a minute, about a second, the gap between Walsh and Bailey.
Yeah, let's not forget that mistake from Calabelli could happen to anyone, because they just got off qualifying session. Obviously the car was just set up for 1 or 2 flying laps, and obviously now they have 50% fuel load on those cars, so the cars are a lot heavier right now. So obviously mistakes can happen, and unfortunately happened to Callum Bellin. So this first few laps are obviously a bit of reconnaissance laps to each driver, but definitely fast reconnaissance lap, because no one wants to be left behind.
Well, let's take a look at Hunter Reeve.
Looks like Hunter Reeve, as they head down into the roller coaster, looks like Hunter Reeve is trying to mount a challenge on Langenberg. Looks like he's a bit too far away. Obviously the Porsche does lack a bit on the straight line speed, as Christopher Walsh sets a 1 minute 56.8, the fastest lap of the race so far. And as you can see there, the BMW just stretching its legs over the small, relatively small front straightaway as they head into the horseshoe. Looks like a small mistake for the 91 BMW that causes Hunter Reeve to kind of check up and unfortunately lose all his momentum that he was creating over the optimal line into turn 1, as they now are going to head into the left hook. Looks like the BMW of Langenberg is kind of feeling a lot of the pressure from Hunter Reeve.
We watched the field work their way through the S's, and everybody pretty much settling out here. The battle here now, I think, is Travis Hill closing up on Hunter Reeve. And Travis Hill and that Porsche work their way down to the oak tree, and another, again, very fast S section back here. This can catch out anybody. I mean, there's grass on both sides of this track. It is very difficult if you don't hit your marks.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, to be as fast as possible, you do have to be on the edge, on the absolute white line. But if you just dip a centimeter of that tire on the grass and under load, essentially under braking or on throttle, the car's just gonna spin out. So it's an absolute risk versus reward situation. Obviously you do want to be the quickest, so you have to be willing to sacrifice anything to be able to catch, to be able to extract the most amount of lap time. But also you have to be very, very careful to not make a mistake and maybe end up in the wall and lose a lot of positions.
Right, and here we go down the roller coaster. You see Porsche, BMW behind. David Levine trying to tail Travis Hill. A couple of pro drivers that are still hiding behind Hunter Reeve. I mean, Hunter Reeve is doing very well, holding his own, trying to catch up to the BMW Tyler Langenberg. Of course, with the Porsche's advantage, this looks like an unmatched fight.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see the Porsche just kind of keeping up as we have a BMW looking on the outside right behind him. It looks like the move's not going to be complete, but you know, as you can see, the BMW just stretches its legs over the small front straight. But as the cars head into the technical session of the racetrack, not only between the straights, the Porsche just comes on its own. You know, it's just more nimble. As you can see, they're just catches. We do have a Porsche. Is that the 29?
That's Brock Hogan.
Oh, that's 58. Oh, that's Brock Hogan. Looks like he may have dipped a wheel. That's on the horseshoe.
Yeah, let's see what happened here. Get a replay.
Is that commentator's curse? Oh, that looks like netcode. Oh, that is definitely netcode. As you can see there, he just got a bump that was essentially non-existent, and unfortunately that caused the car to spin around. And well, being the clean driver that he is, he waited everybody to pass. Unfortunately for him, that's agonizing, and it hurts so much to see the whole field coming past you as you cannot rejoin the track. As you can see now, we do have an aerial view of the incident, I'm pretty sure. So we're just gonna see. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely no contact, and yeah, that looks like netcode. Just got a bit of a bump as he lets 4, 5, 6 cars go on the horseshoe before rejoining the racetrack. That is unfortunate for the driver.
Yeah, we continue on though, and already 8 minutes complete, or coming up to 8 minutes complete, and we're watching the hill between Langenberg and Charlie Bass and Hunter Reeve. It's a nice little battle for the 5th position, high above the Virginia International Raceway. We watch on Langenberg there in the middle in that BMW. Charlie Bass and the BMW, Hunter Reeve and the Porsche.
Yeah, it looks like Hunter Reeve is actually trying to catch. You can see now Tyler Langenberg, how much he's struggling with the horseshoe. That looks like the second part, but looks like Chris Bass tipped, maybe went a bit too wide on the horseshoe. That cost him a bit of time, but Tyler Langenberg just can't seem to get the horseshoe quite right. As you can see, the Hunter Reeve on the Porsche just gets it absolutely nailed every single time. That might be due to the nature of the car, but that BMW is definitely struggling on turn 1. So if Hunter Reeve, oh, as we have now a move here, the 42 Porsche going around the outside. Oh, they make small contact, but looks like both drivers are able to keep going. That was incredibly lucky for that Porsche not to come around.
I think Travis Hill potentially was trying to let people by, and I mean, it's such a tight course. There's not really a whole lot of places for you to do that in that section of the course. And I mean, he ran out under heavy pressure from Dustin Burkhalter. He's just going to continue to be under heavy attack as he just kind of winds his way through this course.
Yeah, exactly. You do have to be, you know, just just have to pick your battles, essentially. Oh, as we do have a bit of contact, we do have a BMW spun around 2 BMW, so 2 pro drivers may have got together. I'm not really sure, but we did have 2 drivers, so maybe David Levine went for a move on the oak tree. We do know that that is very, very tight, and if they went side by side, that could have been a cause of contact for both drivers.
Winker's gone off.
Oh, we now have John Winker dipping a wheel onto the dirt and losing a lot of time. He's definitely going to be losing a lot of time on the back straight. Sorry.
Well, we'll get a replay here and see what happened to David Levine. And we're going to go all the way back here to run to the oak tree.
So David Levine was in front, so...
Oh, he just went off.
Oh, just went off, and... Oh, that BMW just took avoiding action. Yeah. So the 62 BMW had absolutely nowhere to go, and unfortunately had to take an avoiding action and lost 2 positions with that mistake from David Levine. But, you know, just carrying a bit too much speed, and that caused him to miss the corner, as John Winker looks like he was going side by side. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
And then as soon as he came back on the oak tree, he just pushed another driver off. Maybe just didn't realize he was there.
We had some extracurricular activities going on back here. This is going to be interesting to see if we can take another look at. Here you go, side by side. Oh, that was
a punt from behind. Yeah, that was a punt from behind. So maybe the two of them going side by sides, obviously they do have to slow down a bit more. As you can see now, the 336 just getting pushed off, shoved off wide essentially from John Winker. That was interesting, but you know, side by side, obviously you go a lot slower. Theo Brosema maybe got caught out and unfortunately punted the BMW, and that unfortunately caused a cascade effect, so just pushing another car off. But looks like everything is settled, and we do go back to our normal battles on the racetrack.
Right, this is Paul Lindsay on Christopher Bailey. I mean, all that advantage the BMW had wiped out now into this very tight section of the roller coaster, the downhill twisting and winding section. But we're coming up to the front straightaway, and Lindsay might have something to say down into the horseshoe. I was gonna say, yeah, it was Theo Brosema who got into John Winker and then made contact with Brian Winker. So the Winkers getting together in an accident. And oh, somebody else is off. That's Sean Knight. We have a battle going on here.
Looks like Paul Lindsay is just using the extra horses from his BMW. Now the question is he clear? Looks like the Porsche is going to be braver on the brakes, and Paul Lindsay is going to be trying to do the switchback. He does, but Christopher Bailey beautifully parks his Porsche on the apex, absolutely leaving no room for Paul Lindsay, sorry, as Trevor Hill, the number 42, now has big damage to the Porsche. That front end is dented in, and ooh, that's definitely going to be needing a fast repair later on.
Let's see if we can see what happened. This is going to go back a little bit because Sean Knight had an off, and then we had Trevor Hill have an off, and oh, there was contact between those two at the top of the roller coaster, a pile up.
Ooh, yeah, not ideal. Looks like Sean Knight just unfortunately stepped on the brakes to stop the car from spinning around, and unfortunately parked on the apex, and that caused Trevor Hill to just be punted from behind. Oh, and then he just turned in a bit too much, and unfortunately carried a bit too much speed. And yeah, so he just hit the BMW ahead of him, so the damage might be just more visual than affecting performance, because if I'm not mistaken, he just came back straight into the circuit, didn't even join the pits.
Yeah, let's see what happened here. Another view of it. This is all the way coming down the straightaway up to the roller coaster, and the brake lights are on. Oh, you know what? I think he caught that curbing there. Trevor Hill did, and he wasn't able to slow down enough.
Oh, that could be. And then obviously behind him, you know, you just can't really react in time. You're expecting people to be off the brakes and on the throttle, and unfortunately, you know, just punted from behind. That's usual, and you can see they're just carrying a bit too much speed. The rear end was having absolutely none of that, and unfortunately that car just went all the way near the tire barrier, and that's a long way out from the racetrack.
Something else that just happened, Jason Leach just had an off. We'll see if we can figure out what happened here. And this is Jason Leach. He just runs off and around at the oak tree. Oh, wow.
Oh, that is close. That's great recovery from not letting the car spin out back, avoiding an action.
Oh, no.
Oh. It just as I mentioned that, unfortunately, a small mistake, just pressed the reverse pedal a bit too hard. Big damage to the rear end of that Porsche. That's definitely going to be unsettling the downforce on that car. So we're just going to have to wait and see how the car responds on fast corners, because that could definitely unsettle the car and make the rear end spin around.
Oh, there was a car off track ahead of him. Who was that? That was the 18 of Brian Burkhart who went off track.
Yeah, Jason Leach
David
looks
Levine
like he just
slow on the track again. Rodney Campbell slow. We have a lot going on right now.
The track is cutting a lot of the drivers out, but Jason Leach unfortunately just dipped a wheel on the grass. So as we talked about during the track walk, that can definitely cut some drivers out, and definitely just did. So Jason Leach is not the first, and is definitely not going to be the last victim of the grass tonight.
See what happened here to David Levine and Rodney Campbell, and Levine goes round right in front of Campbell, and Campbell has to take avoiding action into the grass. And somebody else had an off. I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to catch that, because quite frankly, I can't remember who's all had an off at this point. This is a lot of off-track action going on right now. We're going to get back to the live action right now, though.
Looks like Rodney Camel had another moment of bad luck avoiding David Levine and losing another spot. So right now he has a bit of a gap, as we can see now. Third and fourth place, Lindsay and Egerchik fighting down into turn one. Is Egerchik going to brave it around the outside or the inside maybe? No, he doesn't. He's just going to be applying pressure. As you can see now, the BMW group getting very, very close to the back end of the another BMW. And this battle is heating up. Chris Walsh is walking away with a nearly 7-second lead, but these three are going at it.
Let's take a look at how Chris Walsh is doing in his bright Porsche, working its way round and round the banks and the curves at VIR. He's catching up to the 47 here. This is Tim Bernard, who started from the pit lane and had fastest lap at one point. Trevor Hill enters the pit lane.
Yeah, looks like that damage is kind of hurting. Maybe he's on the pit window right now, so, you know, he can take the fuel. Oh, as we do have Callum Belden spinning again. Oh, and we do have another car. Wow, that was threading the needle.
Justin Jarrett. Did he just... That was crazy.
That was an absolute massive of a save if it was that, because I'm pretty sure he didn't hit any walls. He was just on the grass, as we're gonna see now on the replay.
Yeah, we're gonna see. This is Callum Belden in the roller coaster.
So far so good, hitting every apex, as now he's gonna head into the final part.
Oh, he locks
and
up.
On Hog Pen, who goes a bit too wide on the grass. The car's not gonna like that, so he's losing control on the grass, looks like. Maybe on re-entry. Yeah, so the car was having none of that, but oh, never mind, he did hit, and just touched Callum Belden. That's gonna be a little bit of extra damage. Justin Jarrett looks like he just lost control on the exit of Hogpen, so way before Callum Belden did, and that just shot him across the racetrack and onto the guardrail.
Yeah, let's see if we can see what happened to Justin Jarrett now. He's battling right here with one of the Porsches. That's the 58, Brock Hogan, and he just gets loose, like you said, right? And oh man,
yeah,
that would have been epic if he missed Callum Belden.
Everything. Yeah, unfortunately, he just dipped the wheel again on the grass, and the car just doesn't like it. The tires they don't like it, and well, unfortunately, he hit the wall. But fortunately for the other driver, you know, pretty much no contact, just a small tap. That's going to be hurting a bit on the aerodynamic side, but I don't think it's going to be enough to force him into a quick pit stop at this moment, at least.
Sean Knight had an off somewhere here. This could have been at the top on the way to the roller coaster, and maybe just a quick trip through the grass. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, not stopping the car in time, maybe a bit too much fuel, a bit too much commitment. And yeah, that's going to cost him at least one position if he's lucky. Yeah, he looks like he got lucky, only one position. Right now, unfortunately for him, he's starting on P11. And right now, he's in 21st. And he's, yeah. All right, nice save. At least he came back on the circuit with all four wheels, pointed the same way. And it looks like he's going to the pit, so maybe damage, maybe getting new tires.
Now, I mean, let's be real. This is a very tough track. This is, you know, not easy for a lot of people. So, I mean, don't feel bad. This is very, very difficult. I mean, you can't feel bad, of course, but I mean, it's understandable that these drivers are having trouble. This track is made to really, like, put your best foot forward, and if you have even the slightest lapse in taking this track, it can catch you out big time.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's just unforgiving. You know, you have to take risks to be fast on this racetrack, but you know, it's gonna end up catching everybody. As you can see now, different lines being taken on the horseshoe from the second and third place of Christopher Bailey and Lindsay. Looks like Christopher Bailey with the Porsche can be taking a more conservative and open line, as opposite of Lindsay, who has to take a more shallow line due to the BMW. And as you can see now, just maybe eager to get past the Porsche, trying to mount a challenge to Chris Walsh, who is already 8.3 seconds ahead of this trio right here.
So we continue to watch this going on, and since we've been watching replays, Chris Walsh has opened up his lead even more. We're looking at now 8.2 seconds, and that's that far back. We'll find Christopher Bailey trying to hold on to what he's got here in front of Paul Lindsay, and he's doing a great job, but we're coming up to straightaways, man. This is going to get really tough.
Yeah, exactly. Christopher Bailey needed to get a perfect first sector as they headed into the straight. Now it's going to be very, very difficult, especially uphill and, you know, punching the hole in the air to hold the BMW. Now, is Lindsay going to be brave enough on the outside? Looks like he's pulling from the slipstream quite early. Now, is that going to cost him? Looks like it is. Maybe, is he going to be brave on the braking? No, Christopher Bailey is going to shut the door really quickly on that BMW, taking the optimal racing line as they head into the roller coaster. And unfortunately for Lindsay, it looks like he got a big compromise, and it's not going to be close enough to mount a challenge as they head into the horseshoe.
I think Lindsay is, he's just kind of trying to figure out what Christopher Bailey's doing. You know, he's not looking to lunge just yet. I think he thinks the win is out of sights, and this is going to be his battle in the long term, especially in a car that, you know, has the advantage on most of the circuit. So I think he's kind of just studying Christopher Bailey and kind of setting himself up maybe for something in pit stops first, and then if he can't get around him in pit stops, then try and overtake.
Yeah, exactly. That could definitely be it. Obviously, he cannot risk absolutely everything with 37 minutes to go on the race. You know, just why should you risk a P3 and possible P2 after the pit stop, as you mentioned, Emerson? You know, so early in the race. Obviously, we just passed 20 minutes of racing. They still have over 37 minutes left. So, you know, you have to pretty much balance it out of caution and aggressiveness. But, you know, Agricic is losing contact with these two. You know, Christopher Bailey might be the best friend for the two BMW drivers behind him if he wants to kind of get a breathing ground. They should fight. As you can see now, a big mistake from Lindsay, just as I mentioned. That's going to allow Agricic to close again on him, and we might see another BMW battle and hustle quite soon.
I was about to say, that was amazing how he didn't go off track right there. If that was, he missed the apex, he missed his turn in, and then misses the apex, and that's just all signs. If you say that, you're going to go off the course, but he didn't. He kept that thing on track, and props to him. He lost time to Bailey, of course, and, you know, is in the path and in front of Agricic. But what a job from Lindsay to keep that car on the track, and now Bailey working through lap traffic. Oh, who's this? That is 85 of Justin Jarrett. He's had a rough day.
Oh, the 85 is on the grass, and it's gonna make contact. Oh, that is not ideal to Lindsay. That's definitely not what he wanted. Oh, that is unfortunate. That's bad luck right there. Just the lapped car just got a bit too much on the grass, and unfortunately that spun, and now the BMW is going to be carrying damage throughout the rest of the race.
Justin Jarrett was just doing his best, you know, trying to stay out of the way. Let's see on board with Justin Jarrett and see how it went down on his point of view. And that car is struggling. There's probably suspension damage to it. And
yeah, not only aerodynamic, but also suspension. You can see the car is not liking a lot. Just unfortunately, oh yeah.
Oh man.
Just a few centimeters on the grass, and that BMW is going to be carrying some bonnet damage throughout the race.
You really do hate to see it. That was, man, there's not a whole lot that he could have done there.
Yeah, absolutely nothing he could have done at that point in time. You can see that just the Porsche actually thought, I think, about letting him by, but it's a bit too far away and just carried a bit too much speed. And at that point in time, you just have no ABS, absolutely just slamming on the brakes. But you know, the car was covering 90% of the racetrack. There's absolutely nowhere you can go because the car can keep going any direction, and unfortunately just rolled back and on his path, I'd say.
Right, we continue on. This is Langenberg trying to fend off Hunter Reeve. This has been a battle kind of brewing all day. We kind of left it in watching replays. But Hunter Reeve, he has closed up to Tyler Langenberg. And he might have something to say about sixth. And this is a pro driver on a beneficiary up the hill. This is where the BMW should sing. And then we get to the roller coaster.
Exactly. Langenberg's advantage is obviously that the Porsche can't seem to catch the BMW, as we do have another car that unfortunately looks like it's spun. Sean Knight may have dipped a wheel. Is that on the... Oh, I think he's adding... Yeah, he's adding to the left hook. I'm pretty sure that was on the horseshoe. Let's see right here on the replay.
Oh, he's just gonna go straight off. We'll get another view of it.
Sean Knight not having the absolute best night. He started on P11. He's currently 21st place. So definitely not the greatest night, but still over 30 minutes to go in the race. A lot can happen. Maybe he can pull off a different strategy. As you can see, yeah, just heading to the horseshoe. Did he dip a wheel on the grass? No, he didn't.
He just
just
kinda
carried
missed
a
the
bit
corner.
too... Yeah, just carried a bit too much speed. Maybe trying to push the car over its limits to trying to get back some time lost. Oh, and that was actually quite close. The green Porsche just absolutely checking up, not wanting to actually risk any damage. But yeah, just carrying a bit too much speed into turn one. That's gonna car just wash out wide, and on the grass it goes.
Back to the action. Theo Brolsma's come in and now has had his car serviced. We are in the midst of green flag pit stops, and that green Porsche was Kurt Geidenkock. He's running in the 26th position in that beneficiary category. He's I'm not entirely sure, but he's out here and he's trying to get her done. This is a very tough track, especially for one of the rookies of the series. This is not easy.
Yeah, exactly. You can see him doing the right job, just letting everybody pass before the roller coaster. As you can see now, a big battle looks like Langenberg. Is it? No, it's Lindsay.
Lindsay and Bass.
Yeah, Lindsay's struggling now with that damage, and unfortunately losing more and more time. He's over 10 seconds behind Christopher Bailey at this point in time, and definitely that BMW is going to be hurting, not only on handling, but also straight line speed. Now, is Chris Bass going to be brave enough to go on the outside? Looks like Callum Belden also struggling on the horseshoe. May have carried a bit too much speed. Yeah, so looks like the damage is actually hurting each and every single driver right now.
This is a grueling race. This is, I mean, I think this makes what Chris Walsh is doing, makes this like 10 times more admirable, because this is tough. I mean, racing is not easy, period. And these GT4 cars, they're a blast in their own right. And this track, it is out to get these drivers.
Yeah, exactly. This track is just, it just takes no prisoner. It doesn't forgive you for your mistakes. As you can see, if you just carry a bit too much speed, you're just gonna go for a ride on the grass. You're just not gonna stop in time. You're gonna lose the back end, and you're gonna lose a lot of time. So it just shows the precision that the top guys are having, you know, just pulling fast lap after fast lap, you know, just not losing confidence, not risking. As we do have Brian Burkhardt. Ooh, that's very weird. Oh, a small tap. He just got loose on the straight line. Maybe got a wheel on the grass and that unsettled the car. That was extremely weird to see.
I have to think that's it. Yeah, that is weird. Let's see on board now of Brian Burkhardt. On his way down the straightaway.
Oh, the cars just start pulling to the right.
Right, I don't know if there's any previous suspension damage or something happened, maybe, you know, in person. I don't know. That was a weird trajectory.
Exactly. I've never seen that before in iRacing. I don't think I'll ever see it again, because I've never seen a car get lost on a straight line, especially on the tarmac. There was absolutely no movement on the steering wheel, and the car just decided to jerk right, and then obviously the correction just went left and unfortunately hit the barrier. But that was extremely weird.
Oh, Christopher Bailey's heading off from the third position. Or from the second position.
He looks like he kept third place. Did he overshoot the corner by himself, or maybe a small punt?
Charlie Bass. No, that's Paul Lindsay in the pit lane. Charlie Bass is heading off. He's had a crash.
Oh, so that's great for Paul Lindsay. Now that's the 41 of Trevor Hill, and that's gonna allow Hunter Reeve to move into P5. But it looks like two pro drivers got a bit of contact uh, on turn one. So a lot of things happening on turn one here tonight. So yeah,
Yeah, let's
turn one is not gonna taking any for. We can see now Christopher Bailey, no, all by himself. Looks like
letting lap cars
flashing the
by.
lights.
Oh,
Oh, just carried a bit too much speed. Yep. Unfortunately, got distracted from the. Oh, he's gonna crash.
oh no.
Ooh. Luckily for him, that's tire barriers, so the damage might not be too big. But let's see what happened to Charlie Bass here. So normal. Ooh, maybe a bit too much speed. The other BMW just come in. Ooh,
Whoa.
just dropped him all by himself. So just a traction loss, and the rear end was having absolutely none
Oh,
of
and
it.
Travis Hill did the same thing. Wow.
Yeah, maybe he just took avoiding action, got on the grass. So the grass being the major villain here tonight. Just taking pretty much everybody out of contention.
It is not forgiving. Let's see here. As leader Chris Walsh is in the pit lane. We'll see what happened to Charlie Bass. I think he downshifted.
Yeah, I'm not really sure because he carried a bit too much speed, but he got the car slowed down. Oh, as you can see there then. And absolutely surprised to see a Porsche just coming your way as when you're parked on the grass. But he just carried a bit too much speed and looks like he just dropped an acceleration because these cars are traction control, so technically that shouldn't happen.
Right, I don't know, but new race leader Brandon Egerchek as Chris Walsh has hit the pit lane along with a couple others, and we are now past halfway. So Egerchek stretching the field to see what he can do if this helps him anyway. We have drivers leaving the pit lane now. Bailey and Walsh and Langenberg coming off the pit lane. So we'll see where Brandon Egerchek comes out in relation.
Looks like Langenberg also hit the pits because Hunter Reeves is now into P3. So looks like we do have other cars in the pit lane. So we're gonna see when people are gonna be answering. So Hunter Reeves obviously was on a race-long battle with Langenberg. So we're just gonna have to wait and see when he hits the pit stop. Is he gonna go for until the tank is empty to make sure that his car is as light as possible? We do have another mistake here. Jason Leach, unfortunately, not having the best race. You can see there the car is missing a rear wing, so he's just, I guess, waiting for the pit window to pretty much fix that Porsche at this moment.
Let's see what happened to Jason Leach. This is him. He's working up on a BMW. That's a 336 of Winker, and she's going to carry a little too much speed on corner exit. Whoa, he clipped somebody.
Did that BMW walk away fine? You can see that Jason Leach absolutely mashing the throttle to make sure he doesn't get anybody's way. But looks like Brian Winker, yeah, that was the BMW, so he just decided to come into pit lane. Is it due to the damage? I don't think that looked quite light. Or was it Jay Gleason?
It was Jay Gleason who had the
off. Okay.
Let's see what had happened. I think Outson had trouble. I think this is down at the oak tree. No, I'm sorry, this is the horseshoe. And looks like he's okay working through turns 2 and NASCAR bend, and oh no, that's where he's gonna go around.
Yeah, just again dipping the wheel under braking. The car's not gonna like that. He's just gonna be losing time, and obviously spinning the car around, essentially just heating up the tires, and that's gonna take up not too long, but it's definitely not gonna be ideal for the next few corners.
This is a race of attrition. If you can survive, you have a great shot at a good finish.
Yeah, exactly. We do have obviously essentially the top 3 only now who have been clean of mistakes so far. We saw even P3 at one point making mistakes and unfortunately costing him a few positions, but you know, this track is definitely not taking any prisoners.
Theo Brolsema, he's heading off. This where is he? He's in the 14th position currently. He was battling in the top 10 overall, and then I mean, I don't know. Let's get a replay. See what happens
So yeah,
with
looks
Wilson,
like
huh?
so he heads into the roller coaster absolutely fine. Looks like. Does he carry too much speed as he heads into the final corner? We saw a lot of drivers actually making that mistake. Looks like he hits absolutely fine. Nope. Yep. Just a bit too wide, and
Oh.
that is just enough to make your car spin around. Luckily for him, absolutely no damage on that Porsche, and he just, just took its time and went straight to the pits. Might as well take the fast repair and fuel up the car, and just take a moment to breathe and get everything together, so you can have a perfect second stint, hopefully.
Oh no, another off for Jason Leach. Let's see what happened. He I feel really bad. He's struggling as well. He went wide there, heading. Is this coming onto the front straightaway? No, that's the back straight. No, that's the front straightaway.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's frustrating. That was the last corner. So, just as we mentioned, another driver unfortunately got caught up. Just taking a bit too much speed. That's just gonna make your car wash out wide. You can see him there.
That was
That was
check.
Oh, that was the leader. That was extremely close. Luckily for
no.
him, he was heading to pit road. Yeah, that was him.
Oh, it was. Yeah. Wow.
Oh.
All right, let's get back to the action.
A lot of things happening on the final corner. On the first corner, that front strategy is being very, very difficult to everybody. It looks like Hunter Reeve right now got promoted into second, but I'm pretty sure he hasn't made his stop yet.
No, he is not.
So he's just stretching the fuel tank out. That's really smart. Obviously, the car's just gonna get light, and you're not gonna, struggle a lot with the weight. And if it's working, it's working. He has a 13-second lead to third place, so he's pretty much in clear air right now, just making his own thing, and hopefully he can keep himself into third place after the pit stop cycles.
Oh man.
Ooh, Jason Gleach he took a tow. Looks like he's struggling. Could be, it could be hardware failure as well. Just if you have a sticky throttle, it's just gonna be pushing your car a bit too wide on corners where you don't want to be. So it could be a hardware failure due to that, because it's not something that we see a lot from Jay Gleason. No, sorry, not Jay Gleason. Jason Leach.
Yeah, Hunter Reeve into the pit lane from the second position. We'll see where he comes out overall. And as far as the beneficiary category, he has a large margin in that regard.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like his closest competitor is on 13th place. No, 16th. So, if things go his way, he could be taking a whole lot of points out of this competitors, and he's gonna be definitely happy with the result. Looks like he does have. Is that?
And he got passed by Lindsay there.
Lindsay. Yeah, Lindsay. So Lindsay looks like. Yeah, he's fifth. That's a great position for him.
He started
looks
seventh.
like and he jumped Lingenberg on the pit, so that's a great strategy for him. As you can see, Lingenberg, he was fighting, and now he's ahead of him, so that is a great job for him. Maybe he can catch Lindsay in the future, because I'm sure those two cars are fixed, and he's definitely not going to have the confidence to try and push for an extra lap time.
Right, let's see. So let's look at the weather today. Let's see if this has anything to do with it. Well, it's 117 degrees the track temp. That's kind of hot. 82 degrees air temp, partially cloudy, and 8-mile-per-hour winds. Do you think this has anything to do with the what these drivers are going through?
I mean, a 47-degree track temperature, obviously on Celsius. It is not ideal. It's quite a hot track.
Oh. I thought the leader was going off.
Oh, don't scare me. But yeah, it's definitely not going to be ideal for the tires. They do have a sweet spot in temperature, and 47, it could be a bit too slidey for some drivers. Could be different in practice that they were used to during the week. So that could definitely be a factor on some of the mistakes that we have been seeing tonight. Because if you can't take the normal amount of speed that you're used to, you're going to be washing out wide, especially on the last corner, as we saw so many drivers doing on this race.
Well, let's take this opportunity. I don't quite know when the next action point will be. We've had a lot, to be fair. But let's mention, of course, the Operation Motorsport partners. And Operation Motorsport, of course, let's talk about them first. It's a veteran-led, non-profit foundation. They're based in Raleigh, North Carolina and Brighton, Ontario, and was founded on the basis of 3 simple words: excite, engage, and empower. Its mission is to engage through motorsport activities ill and injured service members and disabled veterans affected by military service, leading to the aid in their recovery and rehabilitation. For more information, please visit operationmotorsport.org. And whether it's on the track or iRacing, Recaro Automotive is all about making driving safer, more comfortable, and more controlled. A driving experience that you can really feel. Recaro Automotive puts people first every time, and they are proud to support Operation eMotorsports on their iRacing series. In Mobile One, since day one, Mobile One Advanced Synthetic Motor Oils have been a part of every Corvette racing win. That tradition continues with the new mid-engine Corvette C8R. Today, Mobile One Racing 0W50 protects the next generation of America's sports car on track, while Mobile One Advanced Synthetic is still found under the hood of every Corvette off the track. No matter where your hood of your Corvette is located, it's always been Mobile One from day one. Mobile One is the world's leading synthetic motor oil brand. And quick checkup on the field. Looks like we've lost Tyler Langenberg.
Is he another victim of the racetrack? That's the question. Maybe he got disconnected. He's currently P15, 14. Yeah, it looks like he's in the pits maybe.
No, I think he's out of the session.
Oh, he disconnected. Yeah, as you can see, we don't have a car camera essentially, and he's just dropping like a fly at this point. So unfortunately, it could be an internet issue for the driver. That's not really good because I'm pretty sure he was on P6. So he was on for a good result, as we do now have Travis Hill going off in the roller coaster, so maybe taking a bit too much speed again. The 41 unfortunately losing the position to David Levine. And well, that is really unfortunate for Langenberg.
Yeah, Travis Hill was in a battle for position with David Levine, battle overall. Oh yeah, they're actually battling in the pro category. This is for the 8th position. Let's see here into the roller coaster. Just, I think a little too hot coming in.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not pretty sure if he was on the outside defending, or maybe he just tried to attack on the outside. But that was way too much speed as they head into the roller coaster, and that was never going to slow down in time. But David Levine definitely was saying thank you as he saw his fellow Porsche. No, sorry, he saw the opposition Porsche just flying. Oh, yeah, he was defending from the BMW and then just taking. Oh yeah, he just got on the grass, and that's absolutely no grip there, as we saw all night long. And well, David Levine forced his opponent into a mistake, and he got the position done.
Yeah, I was just about to say, we have a nice little battle for position brewing. That's why I went to it, and then Travis Hill is off playing in the grass. He had a little issue on pit entry. The car just went. Corner entry, and the car just went straight. And, you know, that's when he hit the grass and was, you know, pitched sideways. But very, very, you know, aggressive. You kind of have to be aggressive under braking when you're defending, especially in a Porsche versus a BMW, because, you know, the BMW has all the advantage on the straight line, but the Porsche had that advantage in the roller coaster. You know, I guess it's hard to argue. I don't entirely understand, I guess.
Yeah, and obviously with 15 minutes to go, you have to defend your position at this point in time, you know. I just saw that BMW going over the grass. My heart just skipped a beat. But, you know, you have to defend at this point in time. You know, it's the end of the race. You're not going to be letting someone pass, especially if you're in the top 10. And unfortunately, he just defended and carried out the same speed that he was carrying while he was on the straight line speed. And unfortunately, that was never going to end well. But looks like we do have another few battles here. Looks like we do have car manufacturer battles. BMW versus BMW, Porsche versus Porsche, as now we do have Brock Hogan on the pits. He's currently in P12, so he's making, I guess, his pit stop, the final pit stop for tonight.
Yeah, he had an off. Trying to see if we can get a replay of what had happened to Brock Hogan. Let's see. Oh, no. Oh, man.
Oh,
Oh, no, and he
oh,
collects
oh, no.
Brolsuma.
Oh, that is not ideal for both drivers. Looks like that's just beginning on the snake. That is unfortunate. That's going to be damage to Brosima as well now. Exactly how much damage, we can't really tell. Oh, and he just takes a toe. Oh, so that was big damage for Brock Hogan, because if he had to take a toe and lose the entire lap, the car must have been feeling pretty bad.
Yeah, let's see this brew, and it's actually right on board with Theo Brolsima.
So you can see there, just so far so good. But looks like he just took a tighter line, dipped a wheel again on the grass, hit the barrier, and oh, yeah, that could be big damage. That could be suspension damage for Theo. Let's wait until he goes back on the tarmac to see if the steering is straight. Looks like it is. So, might just taking a lucky shot there. Not a lot of damage, but unfortunately he lost position due to that.
Right, and back to the action. There's Brolsima on your screen now. And here we go. I think this is what you were alluding to a little bit earlier. This is Burkhalter on Shane Hunter. This goes on for the 6th position.
Yeah, exactly. The manufacturer battle. Two pro drivers going at it pretty much, as they are separated by less than 1 second right now. Looks like Burkhalter is definitely going to be trying to apply a lot of pressure on Shane Hunter, who actually couldn't close the gap on Hunter Reeve. So these drivers looks like it's going to be the battle until the end right now, because obviously no need to feel safe, just all out attack, obviously being cautious to not make a mistake. But you know, I'm sure Burkhalter wants to finish ahead of Shane Hunter, and I'm sure Hunter wants to finish ahead of Burkhalter at this point in the race.
This is gonna give us a moment, as the battle's still taking its moment to brew, to thank our Whiplash Media partners, or Pit Stop TV partners. And of course, it's your picture, your music. You provide the image that you want to Tucson Sound Art, and they will custom create a beautiful framed, high-quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. And with Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional info. And when you're checking out there at Tucson Sound Art, make sure you use promo code PITSTOPTV. Receive 10% off of your purchase. Ever wish you could have a race engineer on speed dial? Well, now you can, thanks to RacePace, a driver development service and setup shop all in one. Work with Tyler, a real-world race engineer, to step up your game before your next race. Pick up the pace with RacePace. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. And at Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, the owner, Ashley Boyer, is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. You can contact Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine at permanentmakeupinmaine.com, or you can call or text them at 207-358-8683 if you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns. Give Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine a call today to book a consultation. And Pit Stop TV's new parent organization, Whiplash Media, specializes in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs like the one you're watching right now, and more. Whiplash Media is working on its presence in real racing, offering services such as photography, social media management, and public relations. Make sure you check out Whiplash Media at www.whiplash-media.com for more. And now that we thanked all of the partners, of course the Operation Motorsport partners we thanked a little bit earlier, and our Whiplash Media partners, it has been a wild race. 10 minutes to go. Let's say this wild race for everybody but about Chris Walsh, 30 seconds in front.
Absolute walk in the park for Chris, I'd say. You know, Unfortunately for him, he's not gonna be getting the Grand Slam of racing because he didn't lead every lap as he made his pit stop quite early. But I'm definitely sure he's gonna be proud of this performance. 30 seconds ahead of the next car, and the next car is on the same class. That is a lot. I'm pretty sure he hasn't had any mistakes so far in the race. It was pretty much pin perfect for him. So I mean, definitely driver of the day for me. If we were giving awards, he will definitely be driver of the day.
That's for sure. I mean, we kind of saw this last season, with his dominating performances. But, he had a couple of challenges from Dustin Burkhalter as well. I don't recall a 30-second margin.
Me neither. I mean, obviously sometimes you do get a bigger margin, but 30 seconds on raw pace. I mean, no mistakes always. We do have a Porsche, the number 11, Callum Bell, and again, not having the greatest race, unfortunately for him, as that Porsche is struggling to get back on the tarmac. Let's see what happened to him on our Pit Stop TV replay.
Yeah, this is... Oh, wow. This started a little ways before.
Oh, where is that? After the snake section on the uphill?
I don't know where this is. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that looks like it's heading to turn 10 on the downhill section as they head into Oak Tree.
Let's see here.
Not really sure. Oh yeah, it's after the snake as he starts going uphill. Now, did he take too much curb at one point and that unsettled the car? Ooh, grass, braking, rear's gone, and that is a wild trip on the grass. But luckily he got pointed the right way and managed to come back on the racing surface without actually taking someone out, because that's a blind spot for a lot of drivers. So, just going out and, just rejoining safe. It's a great job from Callum Belden.
Right, that's scary. You don't know if you're going to come out on the other side of the track, and maybe take out a leader. You're just kind of hanging on for dear life there. I mean, and that started early, too. I mean, I bet he didn't expect to go on that long of a ride. I think he caught that curb, like you said, got a little loose, and maybe he thought he could correct it. I don't know, but that was a wild ride, and that could have turned out badly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he definitely started on all the way down into turn 8 and pretty much rejoined only at turn 11, as we now see Dustin Burkhalter closer than ever to Shane Hunter, pretty much pushing that BMW as they start the lap, and they're heading to the snake section, as we do have another battle, looks like going on. Trevor Hill, Outson, and John Winker fighting for P12 for 12th place at this moment. So we do have a 2-car battle battling for P6, and we do have a battle for P12 as well.
I clicked to this battle because they were very tight at the end of the straightaway, and I think maybe Trevor Hill's maybe struggling now that I look at it. Yeah, maybe he was just getting past. But right, I thought that was going on really tight racing there for a second, but still really tight racing here. 6 minutes left. Top 6 position going on up for grabs here. Shane Hunter trying to fend off Dustin Burkhalter.
Yeah, exactly, and they're on the same class. So it looks like Burkhalter got a great exit. Looks like he's very close to the BMW ahead of him. Is he gonna be going on the inside of the roller coaster? You can see they're pretty much just pushing. Looks like he's just letting off the gas. Looks like he's not gonna be committing to a move this soon. So he's confident on his pace, because if it's not committing to a move this soon, he feels like he can put a move later on and obviously lower the chances to get overtaken back. So that is very interesting. I definitely would have gone for the overtake, but if it works out in the end, that's a great strategy.
Right, the last thing you want to do is be a little too aggressive and give up everything you'd worked hard to put yourself in position for. You want to line it up. You want to study, maybe learn where you're gonna have the advantage, and we have an off Trevor Hill.
Ooh. So Trevor Hill right now currently in P18. So not the greatest race. He was as high as P11 at one point in this race. not having the best time. He just got loose on the south bend, I'm pretty sure, because he was just coming slow as they head into turn 11 in the oak tree turn. So as you can see, just going up the hill on turn 7, 8, 9. Now where does he get loose?
Oh, he got
Oh,
grass.
it strikes once again the grass. Luckily for him, he did a nice 360 pretty much, and just came back straight onto the racing surface without causing too much stir. Yep, just came back clean on the racing surface and headed into oak tree, and well, he's just gonna get a clean run into the back straight at least. Not gonna lose an extra bit of time with a slow momentum.
Right, we had another off. This is Justin Jarrett coming off the pit lane. This is a little ways away, but I think he had his off after the S's. We'll see here. He just came off the pit lane again. He's running 23rd, so already not the best of days for Justin Jarrett. But you know what? I really commend all these drivers for sticking through. This is tough. I know it's frustrating to sit here and yep, just went around there.
The backhand was having absolutely none of that. Just carrying a bit too much speed, I would say, or maybe just a dab on the brake during the corner, just unsettling the car. But yeah, as you say, kudos to every single driver, because we haven't seen a single disconnect so far. I'm pretty sure a lot of drivers, even though they're taking toes, they're coming back to the circuit, to finish the race. That is definitely commendable. That is very, very nice to see.
Oh, speaking of that, how about this is Tyler Langenberg. Remember when he said he left the session? He had lagged out. He received throughput, is what iRacing calls it, and he is back. I mean, he did not have to come back, but he wanted to. That is commendable. His race was pretty much over in that pro category, but he came back to finish this race out. That is commendable.
That is amazing to see, I'm pretty sure he lagged out with, 15, 12 minutes to go, 20 minutes. Decided to come back, fight for it. And, he's in P20. He might make a few positions at this point in time. Obviously not battling with class rivals, I'd say. But, still providing us with great racing and definitely some interesting moments, as hopefully he only has, I guess, 2 laps to go. But, he does have 2 BMWs ahead of him, as the battle for P6 is still very much on.
I wonder where this move is going to happen. Obviously, Burkhalter's trying to set up the move. Where is it going to happen? And can he do it with Shane Hunter potentially lagging, at a point of the circuit? You got to have kind of backup options. You can't wait for the last possible moment. Here he gets a run out of Oak Tree. He pulls out to driver's right.
And I'm gonna tell you, he cannot wait too much, because 6th, 7th, and 8th place are also behind them, having a nice battle. As you can see there. Wait, did he run out of fuel? He's slowing down, and that's gonna allow another driver. Wait, what is happening with the BMW of Trevor Hill?
Shane Hunter.
Oh, that's Shane Hunter. What is happening to his BMW? Is he low on fuel? He does have a red light on the dash. I'm not pretty sure what that means on the BMW, but it looks like he's struggling. Is he gonna head into pit road? Just gonna have to wait and see. No, he doesn't. Maybe he gotta slow down or something and just had to let off the gas and let everybody go. But he looks like he's slow on the straight line. It looks like he's struggling with top speed.
Oh, and Burkhalter's gonna get past here.
What is happening to the 2 BMWs? As they both lose 2 spots, and we do have a Porsche. A Callum Bell, unfortunately, again on the grass. But what is happening to the BMWs?
Shane Hunter is still out here, and Burkhalter is as well. Burkhalter has some damage. Now, did he have that damage before, Burkhalter?
I'm not really sure. I don't recall Burkhalter having any damage. Maybe a quarter panel, but this is odd because he's losing. They're both losing a lot of time on the straights on top speed. So I'm not really sure what is happening. I'm just as confused as you, but as you can see, just dropping a lot of time.
Real quick, we'll get this replay and we'll turn back to the race leader. And no, I don't think I don't know.
That is just so weird to see both BMW, because at first I thought they ran out of fuel, but neither of them committed into pit road, and now they're both struggling with top speed. So I'm clueless to what is happening, but luckily for them, it's only 2 laps to go until the end of the race. Now the final lap as Chris Walsh, again 30 seconds, so it looks like he's slowed down a bit of the pace, just making sure no mistakes, no damage, nothing could go wrong for this driver as he heads into the uphill section of turn 7, 8, 9. And you know what? He has this on the bag. I'm pretty sure he cannot lose 31 seconds in 2 sectors. Oh, but just as I mentioned, a car loses just ahead of him.
It's Justin Jarrett.
That is commentator's curse.
Yeah, oh man, if they would have made contact, that would have been very difficult to explain.
That would have been the disaster of the race, the heartbreak of the race.
You know, he had 30 seconds. He probably could have stopped and wait for the timer to run down, but he wanted to finish this out. 31st lap of the day for these drivers, and Christopher Walsh through the roller coaster for the final time. What a ride it's been. 30.5 seconds over the field. A little bit of curbing there, so the margin might drop as he has to, you know, compensate for the line there in that final corner. But Chris Walsh, for the first time this season, is gonna win at VIR.
Absolute dominant performance. No mistakes, so as we could tell, you know, just pitting early, unfortunately not getting the Grand Slam. Oh, as we do have a Porsche coming off, that's Justin Jarrett, currently in 23rd position. But you know, the BMWs, luckily for them, looks like they didn't struggle at the end, as Chris Best gonna finish ahead of Dave Levine. So a nice recovery race for the pro driver, finishing P6 and P7.
That was
Christopher Bailey.
Yeah, Christopher
Oh,
Bailey
that was Egerchik. Oh, okay. So yeah. So Chris Bailey finishes in 3rd. A great result for the Open driver, finishing on the podium. For the overall podium. Lindsay finishing P4 after that unfortunate collision on the final corner. That's great for him as well. Hunter Reeves looks like he's gonna finish.
How about that?
5th place. Now that's another highlight. You know, Chris Walsh finishing 1st, but Hunter Reeves mixing up with pro and open drivers. A massive gap to his title rival Theo Brosma in 16th place. That's gonna shake up the championship.
That is great. A top 5 for all 3 class winners. You know, you love to see it. You really do. And we're just allowing these drivers to kind of cross the line. Shane Hunter has come to a stop on the final lap. Or was he lapped? Did Shane Hunter get lapped?
Shane Hunter, no, looks like he didn't. Maybe he was the last car to get lapped. Maybe ran out of fuel on the limit.
Potentially, because he, you know, didn't come to the line, I don't think. Dustin Burkhalter across the line, and Rodney Campbell with a top 10 finish in the open category. 2nd in open. How about that for Rodney Campbell?
Yeah, definitely. You know, P10 and 2nd in class, that's great. Unfortunately for him, he had to take avoiding action twice with David Levine, if you remember. So still finishing up with top 10 with some bad luck on this race. It's definitely a positive.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. Don't you go away. We'll be right back with the coverage here on Pit Stop TV from the Operation eMotorsport Winter 2021 season, round 3 of 8, VIR. Don't you go away. We'll be right back.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture, uploaded onto a canvas, and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Welcome, race fans, back to the live coverage, now post-race coverage of the Operation eMotorsport 2021. Whoa, 2021. So round number 3 on the season here at the Virginia International Raceway. What a thrilling race it was. Thrilling for everybody, but our race winner, I'd say. I mean, maybe I'm just speaking to myself, but what a race it was for Christopher Walsh. We're going to get an interview with him in just a moment, and let's see if we have the chance to talk to our overall winner and our pro category winner, Chris Walsh. And Chris, what a dominating performance, to say the least.
I mean, VIR is hands down my favorite track. I have some real world experience there. A few, actually 2 or 3 races there, so I'm really comfortable. I have a decent pace, and I just figured, hey, I'll go out and run the laps that I know I can run, and if guys can keep up, then we'll battle. If not, then I'll just try to keep it on the black stuff, because it's easy for things to go south when they do. I mean, I almost made a mistake at the end because I just got bumped by a curb, strangely. So yeah.
Was that the final corner, what you're referencing right there?
No, it was on my second to last lap. Yeah, but no, the guys, I mean, everyone else was fast. It seemed like there was some good battles going on behind me. But yeah, you know, this is kind of my track, so I think it worked out.
Well, that changes that dynamic. I mean, maybe I could have assumed, but I had no idea you had, real life experience at this track. So I think, does that add to, I mean, dominating a race by 30 seconds? Have you ever done that in real life? Like, how does that feel?
All the races I've run have been endurance style, so it's a little different in terms of how you pace and everything. And the track, as they mentioned, I think in the interview beforehand, there's a lot more runoff in the real world track right now, so you can carry a bit more speed through certain sections. And so this place, like the way it's laid out in iRacing, you got to be really careful, because the places I normally want to track out way over the curbing, I can't do. Otherwise, I'll end up in the grass. So yeah, I think it helps, but it's not perfect compared to this layout.
Well, that makes sense, actually. But right, very lonely race, I'd say, for you. So I guess the encounter for you is the start and lap traffic. How'd those two go for you?
Yeah, I mean, the lap traffic is interesting. It's narrow in places here, so you got to really time. I almost messed it up a few times, but there's some really fast sections, like up at the top of the S's and through the S's in turn 10 or South Bend, where if you come in there a little hot, which I almost did, you can really get into the back of somebody. So managing lap traffic was important. And the start, I just knew, hey, I'm going to go out and run some fast laps. And Chris was really quick in practice, Chris Bailey. So if he was able to hang with me, we'd run away and battle later on. But ended up being able to pull a bit of a gap on him every lap early on. And then it just kept building and building and building. So it was a good race.
Right on. First win on the season, overall and pro category. Next week, we're at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. How do you feel about Montreal?
Love that track too. So, I think it's a great. I mean, that track really suits the Porsche. The braking performance and the handling and balance of the chassis in this car is really good. And a track like that really, not too much high speed straightaway stuff. So the BMW struggles, I think, on those types of tracks. So I think the guys driving the Porsches next week will be pretty strong, and as long as you keep it out of the wall there, you'll be pretty competitive.
Interesting. It is a very technical course on the back side, but there is a lot of straightaway on that front side as well. That'll be very interesting to see. Right. Who makes this happen for you? Who do you have to shout out for your very dominating performance here today at VIR?
Obviously, our sponsors are Caro, Mobile One, you guys at Pit Stop TV for doing what you do every week and giving us a great broadcast and making it interesting for the people who are watching. And everything that Opmo does for our beneficiaries and veterans and disabled military members, really important work. So it's just awesome to be involved and getting to come out and race with these guys. It's just fun. So I love being around the crowd. So, and thanks to my wife, who's usually helping me with the kids for bedtime when I want to race in the evening. So that's it.
Right on. Well, congratulations again on the very dominating performance. Led all the laps besides pit cycle and 30 seconds out in front. Chris Walsh, first win on this season in the pro category. Congratulations and best of luck to you next week at Montreal.
Thanks, you guys. Have a great evening.
That was Chris Walsh, our overall winner. Now we're going to send it down with JP, who's standing by with our open class winner, Mr. Chris Bailey. JP?
So, Christopher, what a qualifying session for you. I mean, P2 on the grid ahead of 4 pro drivers. How did that lap come together? How did it feel?
Honestly, it felt a little bit nervous with the track temp rising. Cars were really sliding around a lot. I felt I left a little bit out on the track, but overall, I don't think I would have had anything for Chris Walsh. But happy with the P2 qualifying effort overall.
It was amazing to see you up there, and on the beginning of the race, you kept yourself in P2, sometimes pulling away, sometimes falling a bit back to P3. But how was it to fend off those BMWs, especially on the straights at the beginning of the race?
It wasn't too bad. Obviously, like we've seen in previous weeks, the BMW is a lot faster in a straight line. But with the Porsche being so good in the corners, if you get a really good exit, you can usually hold them off down the straightaway.
And well, obviously, unfortunately, you finished P3. The pit stops, were you planning on something different? Maybe just going to the end, or maybe just pitting early? How was the strategy evolving during the race?
I did want to go a little bit longer. Unfortunately, I had some contact with a lap car that really affected my car. So I had to end up pitting a little bit earlier than I wanted to. But at that point, it was just managing my position in class and seeing if I could push up front a little bit. But overall, happy with the outcome.
And obviously, on the second part, just finishing on the overall podium as well. How does that feel, just finishing overall P3 and not only on your class?
Feels pretty good to be up on the podium, especially with a lot of pro drivers, especially at a very, very challenging track. But hope to move up a couple steps within the next few weeks.
And what about next week at Montreal? Could you see the Porsche, just still fighting for the top spots? Obviously, we do have a long straight on that track, but we also do have some technical sectors where the Porsche is going to shine. How do you feel that's going to fare out on your car?
I think it's going to be a pretty even split again. Like you had mentioned, there are some long straights that the BMW is going to be stronger in, but there are a lot of heavy braking zones that the Porsche does excel at. So it's definitely going to be interesting.
And are you confident? Obviously, I can see the Canadian flag on top of your car. Technically a home track for you, isn't it?
Yes. Mosport would be a little bit more of a home track, but it'll definitely be nice to compete on home soil.
Well, I definitely hope to be talking to you again next week. Who do you have to thank for tonight's result?
wanted to thank everybody at Pit Stop TV, as well as Operation Motorsport for putting this on, and to our series sponsors, Recaro, as well as Mobile One.
That's pretty much all I need. So thank you a lot for taking the time for the interview. Well done on your result, and I hope to talk to you again next week.
Thank you very much. I hope to talk to you guys as well.
Well, that was Christopher Bailey, overall P3 winner of the Open class, and I'm going to be passing down to Emerson for our winner for the beneficiary class, Hunter Reeve.
Hey, how's it going?
Hunter Reeve, man, what a race for you. A top 5 overall. Was that in the cards coming into today?
Actually, honestly, no.
Well, this track is very difficult, very challenging. What were the challenges for you coming around VIR?
I mean, I didn't. For me, I just concentrated on just being as smooth as I could. You make a mistake anywhere on this track, and you're in the wall fast. So, I wouldn't say really had any challenges. I was just trying to keep it out of the wall.
So, I believe with your pit strategy today, I think you jumped Langenberg before he had received throughput. How'd that come to be? Did you expect that? Was that planned, or were you just kind of going with the flow? What had happened on that pit strategy?
I just think I was able to easily catch them, the BMWs, like any BMW really, in the infield, like not the infield, but the target parts of the track, and the power of the BMW they run away from me on the straight. So I feel like I was off the throttle a lot more than I would normally be. So that's probably what played into it.
Fair enough. So VAR, like you said, favors the Porsche, but there's a couple straightaways, that the BMW can really get you. Next week, we're at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. We're at Montreal. Pretty much a similar situation. How are you feeling?
I think it'll be a Porsche track, but there's a very long straightaway there, and that's going to favor the BMW a lot. So it'll probably be another race where you have to use your head a lot to jump a BMW if need be.
Right on. Who makes this happen for you, man? As far as the beneficiary class goes, you dominated that. You had, I think, a lap over your next closest competitor in class. So who makes it happen for you? Who do you have to shout out for, again, great run today?
As you can see on the side of the car, Recaro, Mobile One, Operation Motorsports, Team HJ, they're buddies of mine. Tooth Autosport, I've been working with them as well. And yeah, I mean, just a great series, and I really appreciate, like as you see on the screen, Recaro and Mobile One here working with us. And yeah, just a lot of great entities coming to help out.
Rock on. Well, congratulations on the beneficiary class win. The top 5 overall, which again, phenomenal job. And then best luck to you next week at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
And, shout out to my friends Daniel and Amanda and CJ. They were watching. We have a group chat, and they're texting me, cheering me out. So it was pretty cool after race checkout. So hope you guys enjoyed.
Rock on. And that was our beneficiary class winner, Hunter Reeve. And JP, I mean, what a race it was. As far as the intricate battles, the side-by-side and the nose-to-tail battles, those weren't really in effect, but it was more the admiring these drivers being able to navigate this track, and unfortunately seeing drivers who had a little bit of trouble navigating the track, but nonetheless, I mean, what a race. Let's go through our race results, see how it all winded down, and like I said, Chris Walsh 30 seconds ahead, monstrous margin at the top of the standings. Brandon Egerchek second, 30 seconds back, 36 seconds off of race winner Chris Walsh, but the open category winner, Christopher Bailey, will find third pro driver Paul Lindsay fourth. 69 seconds back, we'll find Hunter Reeve, in the beneficiary class winner finishes P5 overall. Charlie Bass, P6. David Levine, P7. Travis Hill, P8. Dustin Burkhalter P9 for pro drivers 6 through 9th in a span of 24 seconds. We'll find Rodney Campbell, the open driver, coming home in the 10th position. JP.
And as we look down to the 11th place, obviously the first car to be lapped, Shane Hunter on the pro class, finishing right ahead of Thomas Outzen on the open class. John Winker on the number 7 finishes in P13. Jay Gleason is going to finish in 14th place, right ahead of Brian Winker in 15th spot. Finishing in P16, Theo Brosamas. Definitely not a good result for the beneficiary driver. I'm sure he's going to be fighting in Canada next week. Definitely he wants to be back on the championship fight. Sean Knights finish up in P17, Trevor Hill in P18. In 19th spot, Brock Hogan, in running up the top 20, Tyler Langenberg after a disconnect. Great to see him finishing in P20.
We'll round out the final 6 drivers, and it's Tim Bernard coming home 21st. He started from pit lane. He'll end up 3 laps down. Callum Beldam, he struggled here today along with Justin Jarrett, but you know what? That's okay. This is a very tough track. Kurt Geidenkow comes home 24th. He'll be 12 laps down with a disconnect. Jason Leach, 13 laps down. He also had a tough time today. And Brian Burkhart will finish last place, 26th place, 16 laps down. JP, final thoughts from VAR?
Well, definitely a great race for, I would say, the wrong reasons. Obviously, we don't want to see drivers struggling with mistakes. We know that it gets kind of frustrating, behind the wheel. But, every single driver just persevered through the mistakes, kept going, tried to improve. That's great. Obviously, next week, it's also going to be tough. Canada, even though it doesn't have a lot of grass, it does have a lot of concrete walls. So it's going to be a lot more unforgiving. But, it's definitely going to be a great race, because I'm sure a lot of these drivers are going to be putting a lot of practice and making sure that they can fight back through the mistakes that they committed on this race night.
Well, ride on, and that's going to conclude our coverage tonight. Round 3 of 8 of the Operation eMotorsport Winter 2021 season at VIR. We at Pit Stop TV thank you for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. Be sure to join us tomorrow evening as we bring you coverage of the Bluegrass iRacing Series at the road course out in Watkins Glen. Then be sure to join us this Friday night. We'll find LTAC. They're heading up to the Milwaukee Mile. You won't want to miss Pit Stop TV's coverage of the Nork Classic this Saturday, and the racing action continues on Monday night with the usual doubleheader, the BRP iRacing Series at Weed Sport, and the Pacific Challenge GT3 Series. They have their endurance race at the famed Nürburgring Nordschleife. A couple hours there. That's going to be a fun event. But of course, we continue the Operation eMotorsport action. Next week, I've already mentioned a few times, Montreal, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. It's going to be a fun night. You won't want to miss it. Make sure you follow us. Facebook, www.facebook.com/pitstoptv. Twitter at pitstoptv_. Twitch, www.twitch.tv/pit_stop_tv. And on YouTube at www.youtube.com/c/pitstoptv1. For all of us at Pitstop TV, JP Costa on the mic with me this evening, Trey Shuttlesworth on social media management. I'm Emerson Arden. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
After months of quarantine, After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture, upload it onto a canvas, and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.